This is the Tech Phantom, and today we continue on our way towards the downloadable content for Dark Souls in the PS3 with our Dex and Magic build, which right now is a much more powerful Magic build, but we will be changing that pretty quickly. So, we are in the area past the sealed door that was opened by the crest of Artorias. And this area is protected by a bunch of mid-level characters that are very, very tough in early game. So we are going to talk to the great feline Alvina. And we need to join her covenant, the Forest Hunters Covenant, in order to make sure that we are not attacked and that we have safe passage through this area. Now, the whole goal of the Forest Hunters Covenant is to prevent trespassers from defiling the graves that are located here, including the grave of Sir Artorias the Abyss Walker. And I will have some speculation on that in a little bit. But let's first join her covenant and then listen to this line of dialogue right here. I am Alvina of the Darkroot Wood. Alright, so apparently this wood, this forest, came from the Darkroot. And I will try to tie that up when we get to the downloadable content. And there is going to be some massive speculation from me on this point. So anyway, Alvina is very old. That is not something that is very obvious from the beginning, but she is very old and she's kind of jaded. And there are two reasons why she could want to protect the graves, including the grave of Sir Artorias. Reason number one is that she holds Sir Artorias in her esteem. I like to think of her as one of Sir Artorias' pets. He does have two pets. We will meet the second one later. But the second reason could be that she knows that Sir Artorias and his myth are legend, and that the trespassers, or those that are making pilgrimages looking for his tomb, are going to propagate that fake myth. And she doesn't want that. She knows the truth. She doesn't want the myth of Sir Artorias to be propagated. So she has created this covenant to prevent that legend from becoming larger. Now, there's some speculation on the web that the reason she doesn't like Sir Artorias actually has to do with the fact that she doesn't like the other pet of Sir Artorias, who I'm not going to mention at this time. But I was not able to find anything in the dialogue or in any items that refers to that, so I don't believe that. I think that the reason she does not like that the reason that she created the Forest Covenant is because she doesn't want the false myth of Sir Artorias to spread. Okay, enough about Alvina. We are talking to Shiva of the East, who will actually become a merchant in Blighttown if you are still in the Forest Covenant, in the Forest Hunters Covenant, and you find him in Blighttown, and he sells some cool items from the Far East. And you can actually get his armor as well. It's not really that good. It's kind of heavy, and the only thing it has going for it, other than that it looks cool, is that it does have some slash defense. So, if you explore Alvina's dialogue, and we're not going to be able to do it in this walkthrough, but if you do explore her dialogue, at some point she will tell you that she mistrusts Shiva, and that he may have a secondary objective, his own personal reason for joining the clan or joining the Forest Hunters. So this guy's a little bit sketchy. He's from the East, and I think that the reason that Alvina mistrusts Shiva is because in the original dialogue for Shiva, he was supposed to be like Satsuki in Demon Souls, and he was supposed to be on a quest for the Chaos Blade. And when you showed him the Chaos Blade, he would actually fight you and try to kill you for it. So I think that that dialogue where Alvina refers to Shiva of the East as untrustworthy actually has to do with the fact that he was originally after the Chaos Blade, and he was used in the Forest Hunters as a way to kill trespassers or kill travelers or those making pilgrimages to see if he could talk to more people or pillage their corpses and come across the Chaos Blade. So that's speculation on my end. It makes sense to me. You guys tell me what you think. Okay, so Shiva is always protected by this bodyguard, and I'm going to push him off the edge here. And the reason I want to do that is because he holds one of, well, it used to be the best item in the game. It no longer is the best item in the game because of the nerf, but he has the Darkroot Garden. And this item will allow you to do what the community calls a ninja flip, which is a sort of a gymnastics flip. And the flip allows you to cover a little bit more ground when you're rolling. And some people think that it has, it gives you a larger invincibility window when you are attacked. So I've picked up the Darkroot Garden, and I'm going to put it on so that you guys can take a look at what happens to my rolling animation. And I've broken one of the Covenant rules, which is to attack another member. So I am persona non grata, and they're going to come out here and they're going to kick my butt. Now, the reason I picked up the stone set earlier is because I didn't want to pick it up after I had aggroed everyone in the Forest Hunter, because I could have been trapped by the chest where the stone set was, and I probably would have been killed. Okay, so we're not in the Forest Hunters Covenant anymore, so we have no reason to follow Alvina's wishes. So we're going to proceed through this large gate to the grave of Sir Artorias. And again, guys, this is turning into a lore walkthrough because that's the feedback that I've been getting. So there are going to be a ton and a ton of spoilers. So I apologize if I'm spoiling some of the things for you. Hopefully, most of the viewers are going to be familiar with the story, and I won't be ruining the game for them. But forgive me if I do. Alright, you don't want to get too close to the sword. That's all I'm going to say. Stay away from the sword for now. And in the back of the grave, there is a body with some treasure. And it is the Hornet Ring. And the Hornet Ring is a special ring that increases your critical attacks, your backstabs, and your riposte after parries. And supposedly, according to the item description, it belonged to one of the 4 Knights of Wynn, of Lord Wynn, and that was the Lord's Blade Karen. And the Lord's Blade Corps was an all-female bodyguard group of Lord Wynn. And we will actually talk a little bit more about Lord's Blade Karen during the downloadable content. Alright, so now to let's go to pick up some what I'd like to call secret or obscure treasure. And I'm sure a lot of people know about this, but I wanted to show how I'd like to pick it up early in the game. And that is going to allow us to recoup our investment of 20,000 souls that we made on the Crest of Artorias. You can see that we're going to make that back right away. So there's some loot right here. And this soul item is 8,000 souls. If you go past this area, you can see some great felines. So they're of the same type as Alvina. They don't talk though. they'll bite your head up. Alright, so you want to follow along the rim that is above the area with the great felines, and don't drop in there. They're very, very tough, and you'll probably die. I know that I would with a build at this level. But if you can make it here into this trees, this is a safe zone. And the felines won't be able to get you. And there is some additional loot here. And again, this is another quote-unquote secret or obscure loot. There it is. So let's drop down the ladder. And let's go down this path here and pick it up. And there's no way to go back to the area without facing the great feline. So I'm going to have to use a homeward bone. And that will take me back to the bonfire at the beginning of this video. Alright guys, so that is going to be it for this video. Actually what I think I'm going to do is I am going to combine 2 or 3 videos into one long one, and I will be back soon for some more farming. So we spent 20,000 souls on the crest of Artorias, so let's see if we can start getting some of our souls back. We've already gotten 13,000 souls back from the 2 soul items that we picked up previously, so now let's see if we can pick up some more soul items. And this is actually the most famous farming area in the game, and that is because you can actually farm all of these forest hunters. Now the first time you go through here, there are going to be five of them, not counting Shiva and the bodyguard. There's going to be a knight with a fog ring that is going to be here, but after you've killed him he doesn't respawn, and but the other ones will respawn. They're undead, and I think they're undead. Anyway, they will respawn and they can be farmed. And I am sure everyone knows this by now, but just in case you don't, I will show you how to farm them. And that is by standing right here and then letting them jump over your head. And there is the knight with the fog ring that doesn't respawn. And if they happen to fall right at the very edge, hold up your shield, let them bounce off, or you can kick them off as well, or you can push them off, or do a normal attack, and they will jump off. All right, and here comes Shiva, and I guess because he's captain of the guard, he's a little bit smarter than everybody else, so he backs away. So he's not as dumb as the other ones. He's not going to fall for a trick, and you cannot make him suicide and fall down. If you fight him, you can push him off the edge, but he is not dumb enough to fall for the trick that the other ones did. He's not going to try to roll over our heads. Okay, so that is going to be it for the Forest Hunters Covenant. We won't be back to this area for a while, and I'm probably not going to talk about Alvina until we get to the downloadable content. So let's make our way back to Andre of Astora, and let's start to work on our build a little bit. Earlier in the video, I didn't say anything, but I started working on my strength and dexterity, and that is because I want to get to 14 and 14 so that I can wield the weapon that I have in mind. But let's go talk to Andre. He is our buddy, and he always has some useful and interesting things to say, and he gives us a little bit of encouragement. And oh, by the way, the reason Andre looks like the end boss, and again, massive spoilers here, guys, is because his model was actually the first model for the firstborn of Lord Wind. So there's a reason why he and Lord Wind look similar. And I guess the developers decided to go with a different model for Lord Wind's firstborn, and they let Andre keep the model, and he looks quite a bit like Lord Wind. He has kind of that epic, wise but strong look to him. At least that's what I think. Okay, so Andre has just told us that we can reinforce weapons. Any fool can do it, but if you want to ascend weapons, you need to employ his services. You need to use a blacksmith. So that's actually pretty good advice. So we bought a weapon box, and we bought reinforcement materials, and we are going to do exactly what he recommended. We are going to go reinforce a weapon, and we are going to ascend it if we can. But obviously we need first though we need to have a weapon to ascend. So in the last part of this video, I will be going into the Catacombs, and we will be getting the Great Scythe. And I have done a couple of videos showing you how to get the Great Scythe. You can suicide for it, or you can do it in a safer manner if you don't like to suicide. I am going to suicide for it, so if you want to skip the last 10 minutes or 13 minutes of this video, you can. I will be talking a little bit about lore, so you might miss out on a couple of things, but so let's continue on our quest here, and let's go talk to this sour guy, and that is Petrus, and he is not going to tell us what his undead mission is, and it's maybe because we are no longer part of his covenant. So let's rejoin the covenant and let's talk to him. Alright, so we are rejoining the covenant, and I'm willing to give him the 300 souls if he's going to take it. Let's see if he takes it. And he is not going to tell us, so I guess you only have one opportunity to be bribed by him, but don't worry about it. I am going to tell you what it is that we missed, so let's try it again. Nope, he is just not going to tell us. He is not going to tell us what his undead mission is. And the undead mission that he's talking about, it relates to kindling, and it would have cost you 300 souls, and I'm going to save you 300 souls by telling you that you can kindle bonfires. And I'm sure everybody knows that, but you can kindle bonfires. So, alright, so let's move on to rule number 3. And rule number 3 that we're going to follow in this walkthrough is that whenever we are close to being able to level up, we are going to do so. And that is because I really, really hate to be walking around with a ton of souls and losing them. It's going to give me an upset stomach, and everybody, I'm sure, that is a sort of a experienced player with Dark Souls has the story where they've lost hundreds, tens of thousands, or hundreds of thousands of souls, or just a lot of humanity, and they still regret it, and it's still pretty painful the first thing that happens. So we have just tried to use up as many souls as we can by leveling up, and now we only have 139 souls, and we don't really care about losing that many souls. Okay, so it is time to get the weapon that we are going to use for this build, and if you guys want to skip the next 13 minutes or so, I am going to try not to talk too much about lore. It's going to take me about 10 minutes to get the Great Scythe, and I'm also going to get another very, very good halberd, which is an alternate to the Great Scythe, and it's a lot easier to use. So if you don't want to go through the trouble of getting the Great Scythe and you want to get a different weapon, I will show you how to quickly do that as well. So if you guys want to skip the rest of the video, go ahead. You are not going to miss much. I'm going to be talking about the necromancers. I'm going to be talking about the skeletons, and I am not going to be talking much about lore, and that is because I think some of you are going to skip this part, which is just basically me running around, avoiding some skeletons and necromancers, and getting to the Great Scythe. And I am going to use the suicide method. There is a safe method to get the Great Scythe, and I have posted videos for both methods before, so you can check those out in my channel. But this area is guarded by skeletons, and they're not actually undead. They are animated corpses or animated skeletons that are controlled by a necromancer, and that makes sense. You know, what does a necromancer do? They take possession of dead things and they use them as their pawns. What makes this area difficult is that there are several necromancers, and each one is sort of in a hidden area and is guarded by a bunch of skeletons. And the skeletons, if you kill them, and while the necromancer is still alive, the necromancer will revive them. So there are two ways to kill the skeletons permanently. First method is to make a divine weapon, which early in the game is a real pain in the butt unless you've selected the cleric and you've picked up a Stora straight sword, which is a divine weapon, but it's a pretty weak divine weapon and it's going to take you a long time to kill the skeletons with it. So if you don't want to use a divine weapon, or if you don't have a divine weapon, the second method for permanently getting rid of the skeletons is to kill the necromancer. And the necromancer does not spawn, so after you've killed one, you're basically done with him forever. And by the way, this is my first death of the game. I should have held up my shield. I was just a little bit late. I was trying to hold it up there and I was not able to do it, and I was burnt to death. Oh, I will repeat this because it is a little bit of lore, but I did find, hint hint, I did find an item description that supports my crazy theory about Andre and why Andre has an imprint of the crest of Artorias in his chest. So I'm not going to mention it in this video because I just told everybody I wasn't going to talk about lore, but I will mention it in the next video if I remember to do so. Hopefully I will. And if I don't remember, you guys send me a comment or send me a note and remind me that I need to do that. Okay, so we've died, but that's okay. We really didn't have that many souls, and we did pick up a soul item there, so that's outstanding. And we've switched to the Pyromancer set, and that is because the Pyromancer set has high fire damage resistance, and the Necromancers have skull lanterns, and those skull lanterns in their possession can shoot out flame projectiles. You are actually able to obtain the skull lantern. It's a rare drop from the Necromancers, and later on in the game you'll be able to get one as well. And I believe if you kill all of the Necromancers, the last one 100% of the time will drop a skull lantern. But before that, other Necromancers, if you kill them, they also have a chance of dropping the skull lantern. And the skull lantern can be traded with Sparkly the Crow in the Northern Undead Asylum, and you can get a Ring of Fog for it. And we might do that because the Ring of Fog is kind of a useful item, and it's definitely a cool item, cool ring to use. Okay, so we are making our way to the Great Scythe, and we have tripped a couple of levers, and we just need to keep avoiding these Necromancers. And typically, once I get past that Necromancer on the bridge, I'm able to get the Great Scythe. So this is turning out pretty well here, guys. There's one more Necromancer that I need to get past. Oop, and I almost fell, and he is right there. And the Great Scythe is right above him. You can see the treasure on that corpse. And I need to pull this lever, or push this lever, so that I can open up the way. We're going to continue on here, make sure that we don't get killed, as we are very, very close to the Great Scythe. And we need to do a couple of careful drops here. There's drop number 1, there's drop number 2, and there is the Great Scythe. We've gotten the Great Scythe, and I can either kill myself or use Homeward Bone, but I'm going to try to get some additional loot. And while I do that, let me just finish talking about the Skull Lanterns. If you look at the item description for the Skull Lanterns, it says that they are a droop of the long beard of a Necromancer. And to me, the Necromancers don't look like they have beards at all, but whatever. I guess the Necromancers, another one of their spells, besides being able to reanimate the skeletons, and this is the soul item that I was looking for, besides being able to reanimate the skeletons, I guess they're also able to shoot fire projectiles from the Skull Lantern. If you get the skull lantern and if you equip it on your left hand, you can use it as a lantern when you hold it up like a shield, and on your right hand, it's just an item. You can attack with it. You do a little bit of damage, but you cannot shoot fire projectiles like the necromancers do. All right, so now we've gotten the Great Scythe, and that's a fairly, I don't want to say super difficult thing to do, but it's not the easiest thing to do, and it takes a little bit of time. And if you guys don't want to do that, there is an excellent alternative to the Great Scythe, and that is another halberd weapon, and it's called Lucerne, and it is much easier to get. So if you didn't want to go through the trouble of getting the Great Scythe and tripping all those levers and getting past the bridges and all of that other stuff, I'm going to show you how to get Lucerne. And it's actually a pretty good alternative to the Great Scythe. And if you're following along with your own build on this walkthrough, you can use Lucerne for the walkthrough as well. And much later in the game, we will obtain a ring that will buff Lucerne and will turn it into an absolute beast of a weapon. It does have higher strength requirements than the Great Scythe, so you will have to increase your strength requirements, but only by 1. So you'll essentially have the same build as the one I'm using to walk through here. So we're getting very close to the Lucerne. Okay, and there is the treasure, and there is Lucerne. So as you can see, it's much easier, and you can get it much faster than if you were trying to get the Great Scythe. And I'm surrounded here by a bunch of skeletons, so I am about to die. All right, so that is how to get the Great Scythe and how to get Lucerne. And now we're going to go back to Firelink Shrine. We're going to talk a little bit to Petrus. We're going to talk to the Crestfallen Warrior. I'm going to show you the moveset for the Great Scythe, and that is going to be it for this video, and then we're going to pick up the lore on the next video. Okay, so the Crestfallen Warrior says that, can you believe something strange happened in Dark Souls? The crow flew off with somebody in its clutches. So he's given us a hint here that we need to go talk to the crow, and the crow might transport us somewhere. So we'll probably take him up on that in a future video. And also, it's time to start working on our build. And like I said, guys, I warn you that if you wanted to skip this part of the video, I'm basically going to be working on my build. We're going to burn all of these souls. And the first thing we're going to do is to make sure that we have enough strength and dexterity to be able to wield the Great Scythe. And we're going to need 14 strength and 14 dexterity for that. There it is. And the other thing, with the sorcerer, he starts at 15 attunement and 15 intelligence. And this is a little bit of a tough call because it is 2 skill points, which doesn't sound like much, but every skill point or every level point counts. But if you bump the attunement up to 16, he gets an additional attunement slot. As you can see there, it's going from 3 to 4. And if you bump his intelligence from 15 to 16, he is able to use a spell, and I won't tell you what it is because we're going to pick it up later. And this spell is going to help us in both Blighttown and in the Painted World of Ariamis. Alright, but first of all, let me show you what Lucerne looks like. It's a thrust halberd. It has a slightly different moveset than other halberds, but not as different as the Great Scythe. It's got a magnificent sharp blade. And the reason I'm going to use the Great Scythe for this build, guys, is because it has all of the attributes of a great weapon. It has great running attacks. if you max it out and you use a dex build, because of its high scaling, it can do a lot of physical damage. The one-handed strong attack swings out in an arc in front of you, and that is just excellent for crowd control. But really, the running attacks are what does it for me. And here you see me playing with the Great Scythe, and there is the one-handed strong attack. So the one-handed strong attack and the running attacks of this weapon are just outstanding, and you guys will see it in action in the next video. Okay guys, well that is going to do it for this video. This is the Tech Phantom signing off. Thanks for all your comments so far and encouragements, and let me know what else you'd like to see in this walkthrough. This is the Tech Phantom signing off. Until the next time.